Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Community Fathers video series, where we're continuing with our series on covering the book How Odds Even Through Grace with Bishop Henry Hearns. And so we're just going to pick up where we left off the last time. But before we begin, as always, we're going to open up in a word of prayer, and our bishop has agreed to have the honor of doing that.
Father, we thank you so much for today. We thank you for the opportunity to just to wake up this morning when we really had not earned that right. You just loved us enough to give it to us. Thank you for it. And as we begin to speak today, I pray that you would unlock our minds, that as we look back in my life all the way and begin to speak those things that took place 70, 80, and 90 years ago, that you would allow me to remember the truth about it. And I pray and ask you to open the minds of our leader today, Brother Michael, as he leads us through this. And I give you the praise for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
So, Bishop, I've been thinking about your life, and you know what? Your life, as I learn more about your life, it's kind of making the word more clear to me. And so, let me just give you an example. You know, the scripture that says, our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against
That's
rulers, authorities, and powers in dark place in the dark world. That's Ephesians 6 and 12.
that's correct.
And I was thinking about how as you go through this life, I noticed that you didn't spend a lot of energy being angry and bitter and upset with the way you were treated by the white man and white people. And as I thought about that verse, it says our struggle is not against flesh and blood. And it really isn't. You know, um, when people are deceived, that's the problem. They're deceived. But who is deceiving them? And I believe that that's kind of where our focus should be rather than on the person itself.
That is correct.
And so, something happened to me this morning. I was getting on the freeway, and as I was merging onto the freeway, you don't really have any options when you're merging on. You just drive on, and you kind of hope that everybody else sees you and they kind of move out the way. Well, there was this guy that just kind of went so close to me that I knew that if I had just swerved a little bit, it would have been a catastrophic event. But in my mind, I mean, I had options, and we always have options on where our mind is going to take us. And, some people choose to get angry and decide, okay, well, I'm going to show this guy, and, maybe even go through the process of chasing him down, flagging him down, and giving him, or you could even take the naive version and say, you know what, he, uh, he, when you overly kind of give people the benefit of the doubt and say, yeah, he didn't see me or anything like that. Or you could just kind of just say, whether he saw me or not, if that was a move out of anger, then he's obviously deceived, because what would make you want to run somebody off the freeway who's just simply merging on,
That's right.
unless you're under some false type of thinking. And so, and if they are being deceived, or if they are under this false ideology, why do I need to waste my time and energy getting all bent out of shape over it when they're the ones that are deceived? You know what I mean?
I do.
And so, and it's not that I'm better than them. It's just that I choose a different path, and that's to not be focused on flesh and blood.
That is
Be,
correct.
because I understand what really is happening with the situations in this world. Because we're battling against rulers and authorities and powers in dark places, and not on man himself. And
That's
so
correct.
that so I just wanted to share that with you because as you talk more about your life, I begin to kind of understand some of the scriptures that I come across a little bit better.
Amen.
Yeah.
I thought, Michael, and I won't spend a lot of time on this, but my I never will forget it on the Golden State Freeway. We did
Hmm.
not have all the rest of the freeways, but on the Golden State Freeway, and a guy was trying to get around me, and he almost clipped the front end of my car. And then when he got in front of me, stuck his hand out there and gave me the finger.
Uh-huh.
And I saw it, and that was way back before I really, really turned my heart to the Lord. Because my oldest son now, who's almost 70, he'll be 70 his next birthday. He must have been, I bet Buddy would have been probably 7 or 8 years old. Go get
Uh-huh.
him, Daddy. Go get him, Daddy. And
Uh-huh.
all my kids started, go get him. And
Uh-huh.
I was fool enough to do that. I
Uh-huh.
took off in my car and I got up close to him and gonna run him back off the highway on the
Uh-huh.
Golden State Freeway. And when I did that, he then turned around and passed me again and stopped up front of me and got
Hmm.
out of his car and we're gonna come back meet me. And I got out of my car, gonna meet him on the freeway,
Wow. Wow.
and all my kids in the car.
Hmm.
And I would say, a yard or two from him. And I guess the Lord turned him into something scared. He jumped out in his car
Uh-huh.
and took off running. And
Okay.
before I could get to my car again to get started after him again, he was out of sight.
Okay. All right.
Stupid, stupid. I
Yeah.
don't know how in the world I was ever that stupid, but I was.
Yeah. And I
I
think
was.
most of us were at some point in our life.
Yeah.
So that's great. But I'm thankful that you haven't lived most of your life that way. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be here to tell your
I
story.
wouldn't be able to be here to tell the story. That's correct.
Yeah. So in the book, we kind of get to which I believe is a favorite part of yours in the book, because I basically kind of had to fight you from telling us all about this man all through listening to your story. But the name of this chapter is called The Good and Gracious Samaritan. And this is really about Mr. Rivers Burks. And so that's where we're gonna kind of focus our attention today. And
Okay.
and so I am going to ask you a lot about details and
Any.
things like that. But if you want to say a few words just to kind of speak about his character to before I begin to ask you, feel free. You
All
know,
right. All
and
right. And
I'll show a picture as you talk.
I got a friend of mine that just walked in.
Uh-huh.
Did you see her?
Let's
Come
see.
on.
How you doing?
Hello, how you doing, Angela?
Good.
All
Thank you
right.
for all that you're doing.
Oh, no problem. It's my
This is a
pleasure.
blessing. This is a blessing. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. All righty.
Okay. So what was it now?
So just tell us a little bit about Mr. Burks, Mr. Rivers Burks, before I start getting into the
Okay.
details.
Okay. Actually, this was at the time that my daddy had gone into the uh, uh, military, World War
Uh-huh.
II.
Hmm.
And Mr. Dr. McCauley kicked us off of his plantation.
Uh-huh.
And when he kicked us off the plantation, we were homeless. And
Hmm.
that would have been, I'm guessing, 48 or something. like that. And and Mama had heard about Mr. Rivers Burks being a real nice guy, a white guy who owned a lot of property in a little area called Miller, Mississippi. And I think when I wrote the book, I think I listed about, yeah, now that's our home there after Mr. Rivers, Dad, Mr. Riversburg. There he is.
Okay.
He had a grocery store and all of that. So anyway, Mama went, and he also had a little restaurant where he sold hamburgers and hot dogs and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Mama went, she went to the restaurant, and when she went to the back door of the restaurant, they would, if you wanted a hot dog or hamburger, they'd make
Mm-hmm.
you one, hand you out the back door, and you sit out in the back
Mm-hmm.
part and eat the hamburger, or hot dog, or whatever you bought.
Mm-hmm.
And so at this point, she told Mr. Rivers, and she had me with, she said, Mr. Rivers, I heard about you being a fair man and would do things to help people. And me and my 5 kids, I
Mm-hmm.
have 5 kids, and my son is 8 years old. I was either 8 or 9. And he says, she said, and he can plow a mule like a real grown man. And
Mm-hmm.
he can do everything a man does.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would just give us a plate, we would do our very best to make you happy with us
Mm-hmm.
staying on your farm. And I don't know if you have the little shack house picture of it,
The one that
but
you lived in on his farm, right?
that's correct.
I'll share that. Yes, let me share that.
Yeah. And so he says, all right. And this was been on a weekend, like I'm betting that Dr. McCauley must have put us off of his property. Uh, uh, this would have been on like a Friday or Saturday. No, no, that's our house on our farm.
Oh, I don't. Okay. Did you have the picture of the house that you lived in on Mr. Burke's farm?
Yes.
Okay, I'll then I don't have it yet. I don't have it downloaded yet, but I will have it for upcoming. Okay.
That's
Oh, okay. That's Macaulay's, right? Or is that?
that's that that this this was Riversburg,
Oh, Riversburg. Okay, okay.
and the Macaulay was the one. See, the one with me and the 3 boys sitting
Oh,
on.
yes. Uh-huh.
Now that's
The,
the Macaulay.
okay, got you.
Okay. Well, anyway, uh, Mr. Rivers got some guys together, and they got trucks, and we didn't have that much anyway, and moved us to the Rivers Burks, and we had I don't know, 3 or 4, I'd say 4 or 5 cows
Mm-hmm.
when we lived there in on Dr. McCauley's plantation, and I led those cows because they knew how to follow me
Uh-huh.
all the way, and it was about 5 or 6 miles from Bahia to Miller, Mississippi. And I led them cows all the way across town and down Highway 78,
Mm-hmm.
which comes out of Memphis, and it goes all the way down into Birmingham, Alabama. And I led them cows all the way beside the road and through the little areas and cross the railroads and what
Mm-hmm.
have you, all the way to Miller. and got him to the place where we moved on Mr. Rivers Burks' farm.
Can I read something in your book that you wrote about Mr.
All right.
Burks?
Yeah, go
You
ahead.
you said we met Mr. Rivers Burks. Mr. Burks turned out to be a saint. Oh, he still kept up appearances with other white folks for the sake of business. But even then, he was always respectful toward us. Behind the scenes, out of sight of condemning eyes. Mr. Burks blessed us tremendously. I sure hope he went to be with Jesus when he left this world because he was such a good man.
He was.
So,
He was all of that. He was such a good guy that after we had our 60-acre farm, now that's the one that's right behind you right now. That was on Dr. McCauley's place.
okay,
Now the one on the right, that's our house after we got our 60-acre
got
farm.
you. Which Mr. Burks had a hand in helping you get.
He was the one who found that 60 acres and made sure that Mama had saved the money
Uh-huh.
while my daddy was in the Army, and he put us on his in his bank, in the Citizen Bank in Bahia, Mississippi, and that's where Mama saved the money until Daddy got back from the military.
So I'll ask you this. This another scripture came to mind when I was thinking about Mr. Burks and his character. And it was Romans 2:14 and 15, where it says, even Gentiles who do not have God's written law show that they know his law when they instinctively obey it. Even without having heard it, they demonstrate that God's law is written in their hearts, for their own conscience and thoughts either accuse them or tell them they are doing right. And that kind of made me think of Mr. Burks, because you weren't sure if he was a Christian or not, but he definitely had the qualities of being a Christian.
He definitely had the qualities of being a Christian. I mean, he was just, and not only that, I think I said that he had about 900 acres, but
Uh-huh.
as I think back about, I think it might have even been more than 900 acres. It might have been closer to 1,500 acres
Uh-huh.
rather
Uh-huh.
than 900 acres. But he had black sharecroppers all over all over uh, his property. And he had no problem. And he had a big Moline tractor that he used to do all the breaking up the land and getting the land ready for planting cotton and
Uh-huh.
corn and all the other things that we planted to grow during that particular period. And
Mhm.
when he would do it, uh, when I move there, I don't know if I'm going too far ahead of you or not. Holler out, tell me to be
Okay.
quiet when you want me to.
You're good.
Okay, and so when we moved to his farm, I hung around with Mr. Rivers before my daddy got back, and I
Uh-huh.
was watching everything that they did when they would crank up those tractors, when they would start up those hay balers, when they would uh, uh, gather in the soybeans and all that. I was watching it all, and I learned that stuff in a hurry. And next thing I know, I was driving the tractors and cutting the land. Uh, and and I don't know what the black people said about that little black boy down there, Burger Hearn boy. And he looked like he had white anyway. And I don't know what they were all saying about my mom, but she was scared, of course, because that tractor, I mean, it was huge. And this little old boy sitting up there, because I was pretty tall.
Yeah.
I probably was 5'10" or I don't know, 5'8" or 10. I don't know. But now this is a John Deere tractor.
Huh?
That's
So
a John Deere. But the
and
tractor
this is a hay baler,
this is
and
a hay
you
bale.
so you operated things that were similar to this, but
That
a
is
lot
correct.
older, of course, right?
That is correct. These are
Mhm.
John Deere, but he had a big Moline tractor.
Uh-huh.
And this one right here is a
That's a combine, isn't it? Is that not a combine?
yes, this is a combine where
Uh-huh.
you got the cutter in the front and it's
Uh-huh.
pulling stuff and running it through that thresher,
Uh-huh.
and it is a combine.
Okay. So,
How
okay.
about that?
Yeah.
How did you get all this? This
I
is
just
good.
looked online as I was reading your book. I said, I don't have any clue what any of this stuff looks like, so I'm going to look some pictures up.
Right.
Now, I'm pretty sure it's a little bit different from what you operated because these seem to be more modern, you know.
No, the kind that he uh, had, like I said, it was a Moline tractor.
Uh-huh.
And uh, big yellow tractors, and
Okay.
it had the big disc that cut the land,
Uh,
and it had the big um, middle busters that makes up the rows,
I see. Hmm.
and it had the three big planters where they could now go in after you made up the rows and now plant the rows, and all of that was different pieces of equipment that will go on the Moline tractor.
Okay.
And then he could take that off and put a hay baler on it when
Uh-huh.
it's time to bale the hay. And they'd have two guys sitting on the back of the hay baler, one on one side, one on the other side. And you had a wire that you stick through at the right time, and the guy would, on the other side, would punch it back. Look at you. Look at that big Moline tractor down at the bottom. See
Right,
down the
right,
bottom
right.
left-hand corner? That's a Moline tractor. Hot
Oh,
dog.
sorry. I'm sorry, sir. I'm trying to capture it for you. But
That is
you're
it.
talking about this yellow one, right?
That yellow one.
Okay. So
That
that's a
that
mo
that's a
uh-huh.
Moline. See it says uh, Minnesota Moline.
Uh-huh. Moline. Okay,
That's
okay.
it.
All right.
And
Yeah.
I could drive that big fella and had no problem with it. It had 5 gears on it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, look at you, man. You putting it all out there.
Yeah. Yes. So so did his look more like this one right here
His
or
his
like
look
this one?
more like the one up in the left hand corner.
Okay, like there. Okay,
Yeah,
got you.
yeah. With
Yeah.
the
Okay.
only it didn't have two tires. It had one tire in right in the middle.
Uh-huh. Okay.
But that was the Moline tractor.
Okay.
How about
Yeah.
that? How about that? Man, you've been doing your homework.
So, yes.
So then
Uh-huh.
I knew how to do the hay baler,
Uh-huh.
and then he'd take that off when it's time to gather the soybean and put the that big thresher on the back
Uh-huh.
where he would go down the rows, and he would
Uh-huh.
cut the stalk, run it through there, pull the beans out, and spit the stalk off back on the ground.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I could do any of that. And by the time my daddy got back, now I'm about 12, 12, 14. But anyway, I was tall and skinny.
Uh-huh.
And I know my daughter don't think I was, but I think I would have been at least 5'8" or so. I don't know. But I was tall enough to sit on that tractor and sit in that seat and drive that tractor
Okay.
all
It's-
day long.
and your mom would come out and see you, and she would be very proud, right?
She was proud of me, but scared. Oh Lord, if my boy fall off of that tractor, them big discs coming behind him would just cut him up to nothing. And that's what she was thinking about.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
Mr. Rivers assured her there was nothing going to happen. That boy really, he can handle that equipment like these grown men. And if they
Mm.
didn't know how to, if any of the guys went up and need to start one of the tractors or start one of the hay balers or any of that, I knew how to start it. I knew how to go up, pour a little gas in the carburetor, and even know how to do the crank if I had
Yeah.
to,
Uh-huh.
and and get them going. And if anybody couldn't start the tractor, they said, "Go get Miss Berta Hearn boy. He
Uh-huh.
he can start any one of that stuff."
Mm.
And
So
I
you didn't
could.
you didn't have any fear when it came to operating those machines.
Oh no, not at all.
Hmm.
In fact, I had a ball. Wasn't nothing like driving that tractor all day. I could drive it all day and just have fun at it.
Okay. Yes. So tell us about how Mr. Burks did something that was really unthinkable when he opened a bank account for your family.
Well, when he moved us onto his property, he told my mama, he said, "Now, Bertha, I'm going to suggest that you take your money that the military sends you to take care of your kids and you while your husband is in the military, and you take the money and put it in the bank and save it till he gets back, and then when he gets back, you can buy your own property."
So
And so,
just
Mama,
a quick, can I ask you a quick question?
sure,
So the government was subsidizing families where the men had went into war?
yes, yes, oh
Wow.
yeah, oh
Okay.
yeah, oh yes,
Hmm.
oh yeah. And if the husband was killed, there was I don't remember how much it was, but it was something like $10,000. And of course, that's not a lot for a
Uh-huh.
man's life, but
Yeah.
they did do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's that's good.
And I don't know how much they were sending. I can't remember how much
Uh-huh.
that was. But Mama took the money and she said, "But Mr. Rivers, they're not going to let me put my money in the bank. They don't let black people do that." He said, "Oh, they'll do that.
Hmm.
I'm going to take you to my bank." So he took
Hmm.
us to his bank and opened an account in my mama's name and my name and his name in his bank.
Okay.
And she could save all the money. And he told Mama, he said, "Now, when you need some money to buy food for your house, or if you need some clothes for your kids, or whatever you need, you borrow that from me,
Hmm.
and then you pay me back when you get through raising the cotton. When we pick the cotton and gin the cotton and sell the cotton, then you pay me after I take my half out. You take your half and pay me back what you owe me out of your half."
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And that's what Mama did. And Mr. Rivers, I don't know if he did that with all of the folks on his plantation or not, but I know that they all liked him.
Yes.
Every black person, and there must have been hundreds of them on these many acres of land. But
So
everybody loved Mr. Rivers. He'd come down if we were in the shade tree taking a little rest and getting a drink of water under the shade tree. Mr. Rivers pull up his big tractor, or if he was in his truck, he'd pull up in his truck and said, "Hey, what's going on under this tree out here?"
uh-huh.
Big smile on his face, and he wore a great big old straw hat.
Uh-huh.
And he'd come out, "Where's the water can?" And then he'd take his straw hat off and sit down under the tree on the ground with all those black people, and you could see black people coming from way across the field because they see
Uh-huh.
Mr. Rivers' truck or a big yellow Moline tractor stopped under the tree, and they all wanted to get a chance to be where Mr. Rivers was.
Yeah.
And we had a gourd,
Yeah.
and I think I told you about the gourd,
Yeah.
and you cut it out and make a dipper out of it.
I see.
Mr.
Yeah.
Rivers would take that gourd, reach right into our bucket of water, and get him a drink of water as if he was black like us
Uh-huh.
or as we were white like him.
Yeah.
So he
So,
was just a
uh,
great guy.
yeah. I quoted you in your book. You quoted him and you said when your mom went to him and asked about the bank, and he said he said, "Well, Bertha, that's just what I'm supposed to do.
That's
It doesn't cost me anything. And
he
when
did.
Red gets home, you'll have the money to buy your property." So,
That's it. That's
eh,
exactly what he said. He said,
uh-huh,
Bertha, that's doesn't cost me anything, and and it's going to help you. It's going to help Red. It's going to help your family.
uh-huh,
And what do I have to lose?
right.
And he
So
took us
he
downtown to Citizen Bank in Bahia, Mississippi, and I've driven my kids up there many
uh-huh,
times to see the Citizen Bank.
all right. But then he made a suggestion. He said, "I suggest you not even tell Red you've got the money." Why would he do that?
Well, he said during the uh, World War II,
Uh-huh,
he said that the military were feeding the soldiers stuff to make them unafraid or would mix them all up.
uh-huh,
So he says, so your husband may be just out of out of place in his mind.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
So don't say a word about your money until you find out he's squared away.
Okay.
And so that don't mean that he doesn't love you. It just means that he's getting over with whatever they've been feeding him while he was
Uh-huh.
in the military.
Do you think there's some truth to that? The feeding the men stuff to change their mindset?
You know what? I have no reason to doubt that because he would have some knowledge of that.
Uh-huh.
However, when I went in during the Korean War, which was shortly after World War II, uh, uh, as far as I know, they wasn't feeding us anything.
Hmm. Yeah.
No,
And I would also think just being in, although I know your father didn't go across the ocean, but just being in that wartime frame of mind,
that's
I think
correct.
that would change a man's disposition, you know?
Oh, you bet, man. Because you didn't know what was next going to happen.
Uh-huh.
He didn't know what next they were going to send him or whatever's going to go on.
Hmm.
And so that's enough to disturb you. In fact, it was disturbing to me, and I knew where I was going. I knew that they were training me in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, to get me ready to send me over to Korea. And I knew that. So that was kind of nerve-wracking to know that when I went over, that, I may not get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
So it
and
was,
you're going to go overseas and fight a man that you may not have any problems with.
that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ain't
So
no doubt about it.
so tell us about what happened when your father got back home.
Well, when Daddy got back home and found out that we were doing all right, uh, one morning I was out on the tractor
Uh-huh.
disking some land down in what we call the bottom.
Uh-huh.
And that was, about a couple of miles from where we lived,
Uh-huh.
down in the bottom where I was driving the tractor. And I saw my daddy, and he didn't know. Hold on just a second.
All right.
I, he didn't know I was driving a tractor.
Uh-huh.
And I guess Mama hadn't told him something. I guess Mama hadn't told him.
Mm-hmm.
But when he came out and saw me way out in the field driving that tractor, and he gave me the sign to shut it down.
Uh-huh.
And so I shut the tractor down. I'm right there, way out in the middle of nowhere and all this land and running the tractor and having fun at it because I enjoy driving tractor.
Yeah, yeah.
So he said, "Boy, who told you to get on this tractor?" I said, "Mr. Burks." He said, "Come on here, boy." And he was walking across the field, and it's about a mile from where we were up to Mr. Rivers had a big shed where he kept all the tractors and the hay balers and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
And when he got up there, he was mad as I don't know what at Mr. Rivers.
Uh-huh.
And he said, "Mr. Rivers,
Uh-huh.
you tell my boy to get on that tractor."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Yes, Red, he's been driving tractors now for a good while, and he's
Mm-hmm.
doing a good job." He said, "When did you ever have any black kids?" And
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Rivers said, "Hold on, Red, hold on." And my daddy, and they have what would they call a single tree where you hook a mule to a
Uh-huh.
plow, and that's a single mule.
Uh-huh.
You hook the mule to the plow. Look at that! Look at that! That's a single tree, brother. Go ahead on.
Okay.
Wood single tree.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Michael, man, you own it. Good gracious.
So he
And
picked one of those up, huh?
he grabbed one of those right over in the corner and started after Mr. Rivers. Mr.
Mm.
Rivers and Mr. Rivers jumped in his truck, and Mr. Rivers is Mr. Burks.
Mm. Yes.
I was just trying to tell my daughter Mr. Rivers is Mr. Burks. That's his
Okay.
first name. Mr. Rivers is his first name. Burks is his last name. And so he jumped in his truck and went over the hill and ran down to our house where we live and said, "Bert, Red is upset and he's after me
Uh-huh.
and I need you to help me." So he stood behind Mama, and Mama said, "Red, Red, Red." They call him Red. Red, Red, Red. Now get out of the way. He ain't got no black kids live in this house right here.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Rivers kept talking to her, and Mother kept talking to him, and Mother got him by the arm and was wrestling with him to keep him from messing with Mr. Rivers. And finally, he came to himself, and he said, "All right, all right," and he kept saying, "All right, all right," and then he told Mr. Rivers, I'm sorry. I know you could have had something done to me, or you could have
Mm-hmm.
maybe shot me yourself or whatever."
Yeah.
And I'm very sorry, Mr. Rivers. And from there on, they were good
Uh-huh.
friends. Mr. Rivers was my daddy. He came back, but we kept on running the farm because now us kids had gotten bigger. And my daddy would work in Memphis at the Army Depot
Mm-hmm.
to make money so we'd have cash in the house. But
Mm-hmm.
we were, and then he would help run the farm at night. I've plowed a mule by sunshine, by moonshine of many nights.
Okay.
People couldn't understand what in the world going on out there in that Red Herons field. They're out there plowing at night with a mule,
Uh-huh.
and the single tree and all that.
Uh-huh.
And uh, but Mr. Rivers then looked out for us, and he told my mama, he says, I don't know for sure, Berta, but I think Red is all right now. I really
So
think. And go ahead.
So the way your father was acting when he got home was almost like they were putting something in the food.
He sure acted like it. Yeah.
And you know, after your father apologized and he told Mr. Burks, you could have had me, you could have done something to me. Mr. Burks said, "Well, we aren't into that, you know."
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. He did. That's
Uh-huh.
not what we're into. We're into people.
Uh-huh.
We want to make people better and things better, not worse.
Right.
So we're not into trying to hang nobody or anything like that.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love the quote. He said, "We aren't into that." He said, "You're
yeah.
part of this farm and we care about you."
He did
And
say that.
and that just really blessed me when I heard him, talking like that.
Yeah, he did that. And I think I may have told you how far he would go to try to get some of the, because most of the black people could not read and write
Hmm.
that was sharecroppers on the plantation. And he had one guy named Ozell, and
Uh-huh.
Ozell couldn't count.
Right.
I
Yeah.
told you about that,
You
right?
told you told us how he just went and changed his $100 bill for a lot of smaller bills.
That's right.
Yes. And then Ozell was happy, you
And
know.
Ozell was happy as a rabbit in the brown patch.
So tell us about Charlie Haraway.
Okay, Charlie Haraway was a black guy that some kind of way or another, he lived up in what was, let's see, now this is in Miller
Hmm.
and all that where Mr. Rivers Burks property was. And then on up the road, up the road, he lived up in the area called Center Hill,
Hmm.
Mississippi.
Okay.
But somehow, Charlie Haraway, he was an old guy, and Charlie would have been, I don't know, probably 70 or
Hmm.
somewhere like that, 70 or 80, maybe an 80. But he was sharp. He was
Hmm.
one of those sharp Negroes. I
Hmm.
mean, sharp, owned I don't know how much property. And that's where Mr. Burks sent my daddy and mama to talk to about 60 acres to Charlie Haraway, which was
Uh-huh.
up in the Center Hill area.
Uh-huh.
And and he sold my daddy and mama 60 acres. And if I remember correctly, I don't know if I do or not, but he sold them 60 acres for I think it was like $2,000
Yes,
or
that's what you
something
wrote
like
in the
that.
book. Hmm.
Okay. He sold them for the $2,000. And in addition to that, my daddy was of course a GI, and
Hmm.
that's when my daddy went to the government to
Hmm.
have to get money to have our house built.
Hmm.
And that was the house that you showed, that White House on top of the hill.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so he hired Elick Nelson, a
Alec,
conch.
Alec Nelson, which was a contractor, a white dude,
Okay.
and he was the one who built our house.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Alec
Okay.
Nelson.
Elick Nelson. So your father hired him and he built the house and everything, huh?
Yes,
Okay. So
yeah,
it's like your father had a white man working for
he sure did.
him in a way.
Well, he actually did.
Okay.
And of course, Alec Nelson knew he was going to get his money because Daddy got the money from the government, and he
Uh-huh.
knew that the government was good.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
I'm trying to find a picture of the house so I could post it.
how about that? There it
So
is.
that's the
There it
house.
is.
That's
There it
the house
is.
that Elick Nelson built.
That's the house that Alec Nelson built.
So tell us a little bit about the house. What were like the amenities? What all came with the house?
Okay, if you can look, if you're standing in front of the house and you see the front door,
Uh-huh.
now if you look to the left, there are two windows.
Uh-huh.
But the first window to the left of the front door, if you look real close, you can see a fan in that window.
Uh-huh. I see it.
And And so we had a fan in that window, and if you look on the front porch, you'll see two metal lawn chairs.
Okay. Yes.
And so where we could sit out on the porch at night,
Uh-huh.
and it had 3 bedroom, a bedroom for dad and mom,
Uh-huh.
and we had 2 girls and 3 boys.
Okay.
So there was a bedroom for the boys in the back,
Uh-huh.
and we even had a bathroom.
Mm. Okay.
And we ain't never, ever, prior to that, ever had a bathroom.
Okay. Huh.
And it had a kitchen, had 3 bedroom, kitchen,
Running water and electricity.
running water,
Uh-huh.
the bathroom. And, oh man, we had it going on.
Mm-hmm.
And the roof, if you can see,
Uh-huh.
you see a chimney sticking up on
Yeah.
top of the roof.
Yes.
That means that we had not only a uh, uh, gas stove and all that,
Uh-huh.
but we had a wood uh, stove that you could put coal in it or wood in it,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the chimney where the smoke came out
Okay.
from keeping the house warm.
Okay.
And the house was absolutely warm, and the roof was made out of rubber shingles, like
Mm-hmm.
kind of like what we have today.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
not too much different.
Yeah. It looks like a modern type house, you
It
know?
was. It
Yeah.
was a very modern type house. And
Uh-huh.
right down in the front, when you come down,
Uh-huh.
down off the steps to
Yeah.
the front, you'll see this fence that goes across there.
Uh-huh.
Well, when you step off, there's a little old step off thing there,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't see it. But my daddy dug what is called a storm pit,
Mm-hmm.
so that we had a lot of tornadoes that would come through our area.
Okay.
So we had a radio and all that we could kind of
Mm-hmm.
keep up with the news and
Yeah.
stuff. And if there was a herd of a tornado coming through or whatever, we'd all leave out of the house and go
Mm-hmm.
down the hill and get into that storm pit. And we were down under the ground, under the front part of our
Uh-huh.
house.
Okay.
So
Uh,
we absolutely would put, well, we had it going on. There's no
yeah.
question about it. Now
Yeah.
the part that you can't see, way
Uh-huh.
over, way over to the left, I don't know why we didn't show the tree. Is a tree that sat over there,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where the road come up because the house was up on the hill,
Mm-hmm.
and down the hill in front of the house was the road called Center Hill Road.
Okay. Mm.
And it was really something. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's okay, but we were called the Big Ends
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah.
because we had one of the prettiest houses up
Uh,
on the hill that you could have. And in
yes.
back of the house, we had a barn
Uh-huh.
and yard for the horses and mules, and we had a, a barn for the cows where we
Uh-huh.
milked the cows and all that. So it was really a nice thing all the way till I left to go to
Uh-huh.
the military.
Okay. Yeah. So you you're you got the property And then you took time in your book, to really talk about how all the hurt that Mr. McCulley meant for your family, having your father being kind of forced draft into the military, it was really God working. Because
Absolutely.
had your father not been drafted, your mother would have never been able to put that kind of money aside.
No way possible.
And you guys would have never had a chance to live on Mr. Burks' farm, where you learned about heavy equipment, which prepared you to run your own farm.
That is correct. In fact,
So,
that is correct. And I don't know if I told you or not, but
uh-huh,
when we moved off to Mr. Rivers' place, off of his farm and onto our own farm, Mr. Rivers Burks gave us our same mules that he owned for us. We had his mules. He gave us all our the plow gear
uh-huh.
and all that stuff. Mr. Rivers gave it to us when we left his farm and moved to our own.
Okay. All right.
And in addition to that, uh, Mr. Rivers was so well liked by all of the blacks that lived on his farm that before he got too old, he built himself a big, nice home up into a little town called Collierville, Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
And we helped to build it
I see.
and didn't
Yes.
want to take a penny for it because of how Mr. Rivers had treated us over the years.
Yes.
But he paid us anyway.
So he built him a retirement home, basically.
He built him a retirement home
Mm,
out of brick.
mm.
I
Oh,
never will forget it. In
okay.
Collierville, Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
even when I went to the military and came back, I always went to see Mr. Rivers.
Okay.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So that kind of concludes our little section on Mr. Rivers Burks, who definitely made a huge impact on your life, you know. And I can think of Rivers Burks that I have in my own life, and I just think that those type of people are just so valuable and in guiding us and helping us to get where God has planned for us to be, and he was definitely that for you.
He was definitely, absolutely there for us all the way.
Hmm.
And not only like I said, not only that, he cared for all those hundreds of sharecroppers on his farm.
Hmm.
He went by their houses, and I don't know how many houses. I know there was one house about, I don't know, maybe a couple of miles from where I live, and they were friends of mine, and we went to school together named Hoot. We
Uh-huh.
called him Hoot and Bay.
Uh-huh.
And Hoot and I we were different than most of the kids on our farm. I
Uh-huh.
like to shoot marbles and all that, and I enjoyed playing marbles, but what I mostly enjoyed, Hoot and Bay was the main one. He
Hmm.
and I would draw these big 18 wheelers. We drew airplanes,
Hmm.
landing fields, and all that
Uh-huh.
by just looking at the airplanes fly and
Uh-huh.
drew them. And that was what we did all the time.
Yeah. Hmm. So I did want to ask you about gratitude. Was gratitude a huge part of your lives? What I mean? Because I understand that you either have gratitude or you have fear. And you didn't seem to have that much fear going on in your life. So I'm thinking you must have just been grateful for a lot of the things that you did have.
You know what, Michael? We really didn't have any fear, even though I think I may have told you about this guy that they drug in the streets until he was dead
Yes. Uh-huh.
and all that. But but I and that was when we were little. And after I got up bigger and got to experience Mr. Rivers Burks and to remember how Mama said this Miss Ada D. McCurry, who helped let her doctor take care of my mother while I was being born.
Yes.
And then thinking about Captain Green, who was in the military and had me to be a leader for the troops. And I got to putting all that together. I had no real fear. In fact, all I could do is to thank the Lord all the time. And then there was an old guy by the name of Givan Fedderson. I don't know if I
Yes.
told you about him or not.
Yes, he's the next. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, but I won't go into that. But anyway, he told us, don't never son, don't never forget to be thankful. Just be thankful. Even though the things ain't just like you wanted them, be thankful anyway. Because God's gonna take care of you, son. God's gonna take care of you. And then my mama, that was her thought. And it was my granddaddy's thought because he was a presiding elder and he pastored many churches. And then just all these people around me, my granddaddy, my great granddaddy, and all of them, and their thoughts were all be thankful because
Yes.
God will provide.
Yes.
So I just didn't have no fear. All I
Uh,
could do is to be thankful, be thankful, be thankful.
yes. Yes. And that I'm glad that you brought up your grandfather Carruthers, because I remember the statement he made about white people. And he said that a lot of them are just doing what they've been taught, and they've been shown. And I mean, and that's not to excuse any bad behavior, but it really does take our focus off of being so bitter and angry toward them. And it kind of goes back to the scripture that I had said at the opening about our battle really isn't against flesh and blood, you know? And so I'm glad that you kind of ended with talking about Deacon Fedderson, because when we have our next video, I want to open up talking about him and how you received salvation through his
All right.
guidance.
I'd
All
be
right,
more
sir.
than glad. Oh, I'd be glad to tell that story.
All right, sir. So I'm thankful for the time. I'm always thankful that you share what you share with us in the way that you share it. And I want to just thank you for everybody that's listening. Thank you for sharing your life with us. It is truly a blessing to hear you speak it from your own mouth. And I'm looking forward to the next session.
Thank you so very much. Angie,
Yes.
was there anything I missed?
No.
I certainly thank you so much, Michael,
All
for
right.
having me on. And
Uh-huh.
to those who are listening with us this morning, don't forget to be thankful.
Yes. Thank you. All right,
All
sir.
right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.